our friends. Tonight, I have the pride of interviewing a long-time friend, Dr. Athanasios Nikolakopoulos, the short name Thanasis. Thanasis, I knew him since a long time, and he is one of the well-known figures in our field, the retina field, and I hope we will enjoy his interview this evening, Dr. Thanasis.
Hello, Khaled. It is a pleasure to see you again. It's always a big joy that I have to connect with you and EGVRS. I always have great memories, and let's go to the main event.
Well, the discussion today, in fact, is two parts. As the plan during this activity. First, we'd like to have some interview with you about yourself, about how did you come into medicine and how did you end up in retina field?
Well, I had no choices for that. I'm a fourth generation ophthalmologist. So it's been from generation to generation to generation that the first boy has to become an eye surgeon. And it doesn't go direct line. It can be my aunt, it can be my uncle, it can be my father, but usually that's it. So I had no option but to follow that trend. And now my son is an ophthalmologist, so we're going.
He has no option either.
No option, because we're entitled. And also for the retina, it was the big explosion of the retina surgery with John Scott and silicone oil at the times. And people were envying what Zivonovich can do with PVR. So they sent me as a young guy to learn all the tricks and tips about vitrectomy, because then it was what neurosurgery is for now. And I was attracted to retina because after so many years, I never had a second case that is similar to any other. So every time, even today, I'm surprised by cases. So there's nothing is boring about retina.
Let me ask you about the point of ophthalmology running in the family. Is that special for your family, or this is the norm in Greece? Does the medicine or
usually it's a norm for all the Mediterranean areas. They try to secure the tradition. For example, my mother and my father had gone to the university. So if my father used to have a garage, I wouldn't study. I would go to the garage and fix cars. So I have no other option but to study, first of all. I have to go to the university.
So the default in Greece is that whenever I meet a doctor, the default is that his father or his uncle or all of them are also doctors.
Because we cannot choose a lot of other things the easy way. If you have a gas pump, I can use the gas pump and I can earn my life. The only way to earn my life is to go to university. And usually when your father is an ophthalmologist, you don't go to become a lawyer. You just follow the trend.
Thanasis, we are in the same generation, and our generation has witnessed lots of changes and lots of evolutions, in fact, in retinal surgery and medicine. Can you give me some idea about the evolution that you have witnessed, which is, I imagine, all our generation has shared this as well?
May I just show you a small PowerPoint that I made? Well, it started in Thessaloniki, that's the northern part of Greece, a long time ago. I used to work before going to the university, I used to work as a translator in Rome and in Finland as carrying paper. So I had a lot of done in this field before going to the medical school. This is my uncle, the professor of ophthalmology, who gave me the award. And this is when I get the first British Council award, sort of a scholarship to go to Cambridge to learn about giantess and vitrectomy there. At the time, John Scott, that's the guy that we used to work together, was doing vitrectomy with indirect ophthalmoscope. When we're talking about evolution, you can understand that evolution is something that I found out from the first step, like indirect ophthalmology. And then I had to go to Machemet to see what he's doing. So that was the idea there. And then I have to go to Zivojnovic to see how he did the vitrectomy for when you had a PVR, because all these people were the inventors of what we were doing. So we were at the top of what was happening at the time. And here you have a picture that I'm with Nataraja and Relio Zivojnovic many, many years ago. The only thing you can see is that the Nataraja hasn't changed at all, and he is the same. And also, I used to work with Don D'Amico in Boston, and with Stanley Chang when he did the perfluorocarbon. I had to go to New York to find out the perfluorocarbon. And when I want to know about the tumors, I had to go to see Gragoudas in Boston. So you see, the teaching there was you had to go. There was no internet, there was no books, there was no nothing. You have to be on site what was happening. So if you want to learn about perfluorocarbon, you have to go to Stanley Chang in New York to learn it. Here I took a position and I became director of the retina unit in Thessaloniki. And this is how we celebrate my achievement, eating. And here you can see part of the evolution. You see what we used to have on the right side here. You can see that this was the first vitrectomy that was made in Greece by Greek mechanic Economidis. And this is what we ended up with when I left the theater. So it's a long way from indirect ophthalmoscope for the Greek vitrectomy machine to the newest constellation. And that was the end of what we're talking about evolution, is that I used to do, to work with Ingenuity in 3D in order to do the first cases in 2016. That's a lot of time ago that we started as beginners at the 3D section of this.
Thanasis, this is an interesting professional life. I am curious, and I understand that many people are curious about Greece. We know that Greece is a very beautiful country with many, many islands. Have you visited many of them or just few? And which islands you like most?
Just a few islands. My favorite island is Paxi at the Ionian Sea. And of course, Santorini and Mykonos on the Aegean Sea. That's what I love most.
Great. Can you tell us something about your hobbies?
Well, my hobbies are actually going out with friends and start eating something like an ouzo, that we call it here. Traveling is my best hobby. Doing surgery is my hobby now. I don't think it as a work. And also, one of the favorite things that I do is, while I'm traveling, I just enjoy the sight of where I go. I always keep a day. And of course, it's skiing. One of my favorite things to do at the winter, skiing. And in the summer, going with Malugin and having a fish taverna in Thessaloniki or in Chalkidiki. That's my favorite hobbies.
You have traveled a lot. Which countries you felt you liked most?
Well, I was really impressed by, as I show you here, from Istanbul, which I think is one of the most beautiful cities in the world, in Turkey. And also, I was really impressed by the Nile River tour that we did, about the combination of ancient and fresh things that you get when you go to Egypt. and from the museum and also in New York. I would love to live in New York, and I would love to spend my pension days in Paris.
That's very interesting what you told us, Thanasis, about your social life and social aspects. Now we'll take a short break and then come back for the scientific part, your presentation. See you in a while. We are back once more with Dr. Thanasis, and we are going to listen to his scientific presentation.
You know that our hobby, like EGVRS and TVRS, is to knowledge transfer. This is what I love to. And the surgical evolution I would like to talk about is the 3D surgical evolution. We have to remember that one of the primary surgeons and one of the best friends was Cesare Forlini, who contributed in this thing that we started together. And always remember what Makeme used to say, that progress comes from doing the unconventional, which I love the word of it. Of course, the thing that intrigues me more is to see how beautiful is the view from a big screen without looking, and that you have a wide angle observation system and you can see all the details of the vessels while doing the macular surgery without losing any resolution that you lose with a microscope. And of course, this is what I love to do. This is the ABOS system that I'm using now, the wide angle 120 degrees ABOS system for all my cases. And we are talking why I prefer to do the Ingenuity wide angle observation system and also the 3D. As Steve Charles used to say, that increased depth of field is the future that enables the benefit of using a much greater magnification. That's the dream of a surgeon, to use a beautiful magnification without losing the resolution. That was always the problem that we have with the microscope. And also, we have a very good excuse for the young fellows to start using the Ingenuity, because the 6.8 lumen normal light pipe, the phototoxicity can be done in 14 minutes if you're trying to teach somebody how to peel a macular hole or something like that. With Ingenuity, you can go back to phototoxicity to 0.74. That means 2.5 hours trying to learn something, so you don't damage the eye by using it. So for the novice, it's very good to have this 3D system. But what about the older people, like 50, 60 years old surgeons that will become sometime? Imagine that the depth of field is something very important. What the depth of field is, you can look at the disc and you can look at the back of the lens at the same time. And with the Ingenuity, it's 2.9 greater than the Lumera Zeiss, which is, you can understand what it means when you have a very deep depth of vision. What it means that older people like us, we don't need the accommodation that you need in the microscope, because when you're losing the accommodation of a microscope, you're losing depth of field. So in order to have a much better viewing of what we're doing, we need not to have accommodation fatigue by maintaining steady distance accommodation of 0.5 meters. At the surgery, so what is the benefit for macular surgery when we're doing 3D? We have improved the resolution, we have improved image depth, increased surgical comfort, less pain at the back, safer time, less light, improve entrance with valve trocars, and it's a teaching tool, which is very important. And this is what we have changed to 3D from 2D from 3D, a video to show you the benefits of using 27 gauge with a 3D. Look how big the trocar is going to be and how easy you can go in a trocar valved 27 gauge. People who know how to do it outside the microscope, they never can find the hole. And look the view that you have on the area of the retina with a 3D observation system. And I can go faster. And what about the depth? That's what I call depth. I see that injecting Kenalog or Kenalog in the eye, you can see the back of the disc up to the lens, and you can control what you're doing, because the name of the game when you go to surgery is control. And you're doing a beautiful control, and you can see why you have a macular hole here, because the macular hole, everything is attached. It has a cortical vitreous that it's attached. And you can see beautifully the detached of the vitreous. And now you have a detached vitreous. Now you have a beautifully view of all the steps of the vitrectomy. And now you can go in with the finesse and look at the hole. It looks great, it looks big. And you go with the finesse and you control the ILM. You can scratch the ILM in the most noble way. And then you can see injecting all the things that you want. I think the other thing is, after doing the ILM removal, which is, I'm going a little bit faster now to show you how you do the ILM removal. It's very thin with 27 gauge. You need to regrasp some time to do the ILM for the macular hole. And you can see the details that you have. I have to be a little bit faster. And the other issue is that you go so near to the macula, and you're going to see when you're removing the ILM, so many details. Actually, you can see the flow of the vessels, the flow of the blood in the vessels at the same time. And you look what kind of huge magnification you have without actually having any problem of looking at the details of the macular hole with a wide angle. And look how you can remove the last drop of fluid at the macular hole with the fluid needle. And you can see that is a little tip of vitreous was engulfed inside the hole, and you can dry it out, because you need to have a dry macular hole in order to keep it closed. And this is done under the air. So under the air, you don't have any problems looking so brightly and so well. So I cannot change my idea about this thing. And you can see how good it is. And here you can make the change, and that's about it. In the old days, you have to go to Makiamed to see what he's doing. You have to go to John Scott. You have to go to Zivojnovic. You have to go to, you can see Khaled here, and also Cesare Forlini, the late Cesare Forlini. But remember one thing about our countries, which is very important, Khaled. The current technology, how you transfer current technology in countries that they don't have enough money to have current technology everywhere. Look at the trick. They say for a safe selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please climb the tree. That's what they put us to do. They say in Egypt, in Greece, we can do something in Hackswright, and then you have to do it yourself. And it's, I look like an elephant when I try to do 3D, look like an elephant when I want technology to get. And nobody is transferring technology. So we tried together with you and Cesare and all the friends that we have together, Bandello and Zographos, to do a school, to do and transfer learning curvature of new technology to people who don't have access to the details. Because the companies who are selling things, they tell you everything about the good things, they don't tell you everything. And the teaching tool of 3D is important, because when you are teaching somebody through the microscope, only one person can see what you're doing. With a 3D presentation, you can have 5,000 people looking at what you're doing, and the whole staff of the theater is participating, and they tell you what to do. And remember, it's the Vitreoretina Summer School that we do since 2011, that before you start anything, this is the motto: learn how to finish it. And then you're not going to be trapped. So we use 3D screens. We use the latest technology because we have bionic eyes. We used to transfer knowledge about how to remove a foreign body in a bionic eyes. This is the handshake technique that we're teaching somebody. And this is how to peel the macula, how to peel the ILM in an artificial eye that you train before you do it on an Ingenuity system. And this is how we have the Haxrite OCT, surgical OCT, and you train an OCT that you see, you train an OCT also in an artificial eye. And also we did a whole section of complication of cataract surgery. And this is how you train to put a lens in the eye when you have a drop nucleus or something like that, a drop lens. And this is the setup of the wet lab system that I wish I had all these systems from these companies in my theater. It's much more equipped than my theater. And this is the next one we're going to do in July this year. And there are many more teachers than we have students. And it's 4th to 8th of July. This is my baby. This is my hobby. This is what I do. I'm crazy about, because we train people in the latest technology and we're training ourselves. And this is where you can get in, tvrs.gr. You can see the system that we evolved with the bionic eyes, that you can do retina surgery, not in a pig eye, not in a chicken eye. We have to use fantastic eyes, and you have to start early. These are my young ones who are starting to become ophthalmologists from now on. It's the same like playing tennis. You know, all the champions of tennis games, they come from trainers. That's children of trainers. And thank you very much for accepting my presentation. And it's a very big honor for letting me be with you in such a big event.
We really thank you very much, Thanasius, for this very interesting talk about a long history of vitreoretinal surgery. And it is really impressive that you keep improving and learning and trying to teach people. This is really impressive at a time when many people prefer to have a quiet life. You are still having a very active life and giving people your knowledge and experience. Thank you very much for that. And thank you for being with us in this interview.
I hope I can see you soon in person, and I'm looking forward to come to TVRS in July yourself, because you are part of the project. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to. Goodbye. Good night.